Now, on the southwest corner of 29th Avenue in Cherry Street, there was a Madrona Theater situated on this corner. The entire Jewish community would patronize the theater because it was so convenient and they didn't have to make a special trip to downtown Seattle. They showed lots of serials for the young boys and girls like the Lone Ranger and so forth to attract them. But I have a little story about the Madrona Theater I'd like to tell you that has to do with my parents. My father, Jack, actually ran away from home in Turkey and stowed away on a ship going to Marseille. He made his way to Cherbourg in France, made the Atlantic crossing, and finally made it to Seattle in November of 1920. His story is actually recorded, and there is a written record in the annals of the Washington State Jewish Historical Society as well. I think it's absolutely fascinating. I would not myself have had the guts to do what my father did. But I want to get back to the story of the Madrona Theater. My mother, Louise, and her sister, Fanny, were left behind in Turkey when the rest of their family came to America in Seattle. The reason was that the U.S. had just put into effect a law that prevented family members over the age of 20 or 21 to enter the U.S. Now, this was in 1924, the year the rest of the Maimon family came to the U.S. My grandfather, Rabbi Abraham Maimon, promised his daughters, Fanny and Louise, that he would do everything in his power to bring them to the United States. Long story short, he was able to bring them to Vancouver by ship, which docked at Halifax, Nova Scotia, and they took the Trans-Canada Railroad to Vancouver. My grandfather had arranged for a Rabbi Pastinsky to find a Jewish family for them to stay with until such time as he could make arrangements to bring them to Seattle. Rabbi Pastinsky found them a nice family by the name of Steinberg, who could put them up and taught them some English. My mother, Louise, and sister Fanny were able to obtain a green card, which I have at home, which allowed them from time to time to visit the U.S. On one of these trips, my father's sister, Susie, had become good friends with my mother from her trips from Vancouver to Seattle. On one of those trips, the two of them went to the Madrona Theater. My father, asking about his sister Susie, was told that she was at the Madrona Theater with Louise, one of the daughters of Rabbi Maimon. He had heard talk about her and wanted to meet her. So he went to the Madrona Theater. He told the young woman in the box office that he had to see his sister, went in and found his sister sitting with her friend Louise. My Aunt Susie introduced my mom to Dad, and it was love at first sight. Sometime later, Dad actually got married in Vancouver on a Sunday in a church by the pastor so that he would have the documents to prove that she was his wife. Now he was able to bring her to the U.S. legally. The Maimon family was happy to see her, but her father, Rabbi Maimon, said to my father, "You may be married with that document, but you are not married according to Jewish law. You will have to stay apart until we can arrange a Jewish marriage." Mom and Dad did have a Jewish marriage in June of 1929, and I was born in July of the following year. That same location, after the Mount Baker Theater had been torn down, was the location of Harry Varon's Kosher Butcher Shop. And that brings us to the end of our tour of the Jewish houses of worship as well as the schools and businesses utilized by both the Sephardic and Ashkenazic communities in the early 1900s in the Central District.